Welcome everyone. This is Area Forge Gamescast Part 3. It's been a while. I know it's been a while because it's been a whole pandemic a while. That's over a year now, I think. Is it 5, 6 months, 7 months? I think I started the actual podcast in the beginning of the pandemic, but here we are, still in the pandemic. Nothing has changed too much besides vaccines and a whole shabla, but the show's not about vaccines in the pandemic. The show's about games because that's one of the few things and main things that's been holding us down throughout this whole pandemic. Anyways, if it's your first time watching, my name is Preston Blake, and with me I have a special guest of mine that hasn't been on the show yet, and that is Steven. Steven, how you doing, man?
Doing good.
That's good. It's good because it's all we can do in this goddamn pandemic. Is do good. So we have not that many things to go through, even though it's been almost a whole year, and I love to talk about the stuff we've been through when it comes to the games for a whole year, but we're not going to do that in this show. We're just going to talk about the latest and greatest stuff that's been going on in our lives when it comes to video games, and one of them is definitely that Mass Effect, which we'll get to as soon as we can. And another one is Resident Evil Village, which I don't think is too great in my eyes. I'm not really much of a horror fanatic like you guys, but I'm still at Lady Demetress Castle in the beginning, so you say what you will. And another thing we're gonna have to go through today is that Destiny 2 news about the transmog systems, which is all over the internet, as you may know. Other than that, though, let's start with that Mass Effect trilogy, man. Like, first off, before I even go, where, how many? I'm pretty sure you have it already. What system and how many hours you put in so far, Steven?
Well, I got it on Steam. Thursday night I had planned on starting it on midnight, and I didn't look and realize that they released it at different times. So, kind of pissed. But Friday, I started my playthrough, and I've been a Mass Effect fan for a long time. I've done many playthroughs of the original trilogy. So, where I left off, I got a good like 5 hours in. I left off like I just rescued Liara from the mine shaft.
Eden, yeah.
Yeah.
Same here. I just did that myself after exploring the Citadel for like another freaking couple of hours by itself. But yeah, man, that I don't know how you are with the original Mass Effect. I know we're both big Mass Effect fans. We're sci-fi heads, and just in case our viewers didn't know that, but Mass Effect it holds a very, very special place in my heart when it comes to sci-fi. The same goes for Halo. Halo's what brought me into first-person shooters. Even after the couple that came out, it never really stuck with me. Actually, I'm lying. Sorry. Halo's what brought me into, because I was in GoldenEye, so that's a lie. Halo's what got me into sci-fi shooters. Because I was never too much of a sci-fi shooting fan until Halo came about on the Xbox, the original Xbox. So Mass Effect has done what Halo has done for me, and just, well, not in the same place, but it really definitely upped the ante on sci-fi games in general when it comes to my love for sci-fi games, besides the sci-fi cinematic universe of Star Wars and Star Trek and such. But long story short, my first time, this is crazy. I think Mass Effect 1 came out back in 2000 and, 6 or 7?
7?
I think it was 2007.
Maybe it's 08, maybe. I think it was 2008.
We'll fact check. We'll double check on that. But Mass Effect, that I remember specifically that day it came out, and the commercials and stuff before it came out, I was into it, but I didn't know what I was getting myself into too much. It was a new IP from BioWare. I always loved BioWare with the Knights of KOTOR and stuff like that. I said Knights of KOTOR, Star Wars KOTOR and whatnot. But I didn't know too much about what this game was going to be about and what I was getting myself into before it came out. But I was just hyped because it was a sci-fi game and the graphics looked like great back then, obviously. And I remember living in like across the street from Prospect Park in Brooklyn, and I was riding my skateboard to my mom and pop store, the nearest mom and pop store, to get the game like a day early for the 360. And you know, at the time I was in high school, but I was very very excited to pick it up. And the moment I popped it in the 360 and the menu came up, I already had great expectations for the game. You know, I got sucked in by the music alone, and I'm a big audio guy when it comes to music and video games. So all I'm saying is that hype that I had in the beginning got bigger all the way to the end of the game, from start to finish. And Mass Effect 1, compared to the other two, that's obviously objectively better. Mass Effect 1 will always hold that special place in my heart when it comes to out of the trilogy than the other two, because obviously it's the beginning, and I guess for a lot of people could say the same for themselves, I guess, but it's more of a nostalgic trip to me, a nostalgic feeling that's bigger than the actual rest of the rest of the trilogy. So I was excited when I seen the remake as to what they did with the graphics and the gameplay and stuff like that way before this came out. And when it did, the first hour I put into the game, hell, the menu, the first time I seen the menu come back up and hearing that music, I didn't get teary-eyed, but I did. I did feel. I felt like I was close to it, but I really, in so many other words, I really so far enjoy what I'm playing. I'm only 3 or 4 hours in, but I enjoy what I'm playing so far and exploring that Citadel, and just the new tone and everything is like. There's a lot of controversy online about the whole the tone shift in the graphics when it comes to certain scenes being darker than it used to be, and it used to be more like a soap, a sci-fi soap than it is now. Yeah, brighter colors and stuff. So it takes away a tone here and there for certain people. Not for me. I'm a big more colors to me the better, especially if it looks right. Especially in the sci-fi universe, I would want more colors in this universe. I don't give a damn about a filter that's changed when it comes to something that was darker before. So I'm enjoying that. But how do you feel about that, the graphical shift? What's your take on that? You say you're playing it on Steam.
Yeah. I booted up Mass Effect 1, and I was actually really surprised at how good it looked. The upscaling, very crisp, very clear. I was honestly a little bit impressed. I didn't think it was going to look that good. And I know there's been discussion online about the atmosphere of Eden Prime, in the original game.
Yeah.
Sky was very red, dark, like it was apocalyptic, and
man, what about that Mako?
Oh yeah, I tried out the Mako too.
The Mako is definitely a nice change. They didn't change too much, but they changed enough where it was definitely more enjoyable.
It did kind of feel like how it was, but a bit tighter. It does feel a bit tighter to control. The boost is much appreciated.
Yeah, it's not as floaty. Definitely more grounded than it should be.
Yeah. But as far as Eden Prime and all that, I know a lot of people were complaining that it didn't seem, let's say, like true to how it was in the original, where it was very like theatrical, dark red skies, and the atmosphere was it was different.
Yeah.
I noticed that, let's say you were looking in the direction of where you were supposed to go. It had that darker atmosphere, but if you look behind you, it was like clear skies, and I feel like that's honestly a little bit more realistic. If something were to happen like on this planet, it's like, all right, well, if there's death and destruction in one corner and you're headed towards it, it's gonna look, like smoke is pluming,
Yep.
That's gonna. But if you look the other way, opposite side of the horizon, like it's gonna look like everything's fine over there. So I almost appreciate the realism in that, as far as like it doesn't need to stay true. If they can improve on some things, like that's great.
Exactly. Yeah,
so,
the filter, I look at it as a whole filter, the original. It was a filter. It was like any other filter what horror movies may have when it's dark and blue, to create the feeling of suspense or whatever tone that they're trying to tell in the story. So, yeah. that filter is not missed for me as a Mass Effect fan. Um, Other than that, I mean, to please, you can't please everybody, but you could have, me nitpicking here for other people that may be mad about that, they could have just added the option for that filter, like how they do in Uncharted and other games
Or even like
as an option.
the Halo remaster, Master Chief Collection, where you can kind of go back and forth between
Oh
old
yeah,
style and new
I
style.
mean that's a task. I think that's a bigger task doing that.
Mm,
Um, Especially if the coding is different for this game is pretty much two systems, two generations old.
mm,
So I feel like that's a bigger task. That is true. They couldn't do that, but it seemed like they still have bugs to fix in this one. That since the EA, they like to rush things out
mm.
for their developers. So being that said, I feel like, who knows? I'm not a game developer. The filter task or the Halo thing, like you said, going back to the original graphics or not. That's more of an option, but I think who knows which would have took longer. But I'm just saying, as far as pleasing other audiences that missed the old filter, they could have had new graphics with the old filter and flip it
Mm.
back. Who knows? Um, they were working on this. It seemed like they were working on this from like all the way up to the last second with the original Mass Effect. Since didn't they delay this once?
I don't really remember, but I wouldn't be surprised if they did.
Yeah.
It also, I mean, I don't know if I just wasn't really keeping my ears out, but I mean, I also didn't really even hear about this game being made until like a few months ago. So it sort of came out of left field for me, at least. Like I didn't, all of a sudden they're like, yeah, we got this remaster, we got this collection, and it's like it's coming in a couple months, and I'm just like, whoa, like,
Mm-hmm.
I thought it'd be like 2 years from now.
Yeah.
But
I mean, we've been thinking about a lot of, well, before they announced it, everybody knew they were working on something because there was like certain leaks.
mm,
We all speculated that this game has to be in the making. There's no reason why they haven't had it out yet, like in simple HD upscale remake, and just keep without doing that. They had so much time last generation to do it. Everybody was assuming that this was like, all right, they had to be working on something like Bloodborne. Bloodborne, they everybody they did Sekiro with a 60 FPS jump on the PS5s and Xbox Series X, and they also came out with the they already made a Dark Souls remastered trilogy or whatever. Not trilogy, but the first two. So Bloodborne was being ignored for a while since it came out in the beginning of the PlayStation 4 cycle, and obviously, they could have been had an upscale patch or whatever, but they kept that. They kept what do you call it? They didn't say, they kept that on the hush. They didn't say nothing about it. They didn't talk about it because everybody's still assuming now that they're working on a Bloodborne remaster. Who knows? But I think that was the same for Mass Effect Trilogy. Mass Effect Trilogy came out 2 generations ago. They could have all automatically had it on the PSN store and Xbox store with an update patch or something, but they didn't make any patch, so that's what speculated towards them working on the remaster that's out now. And being that said, yeah, a lot of people have known that they're working on something for like over a year, but they haven't announced it until like last minute. I think it was it a couple months ago they announced it? I think they announced it at the end of last year that it was coming out. But
well, that's just what I heard. I mean, like I said, I probably didn't have my ears to the ground on that.
yeah,
For me, it was a pleasant surprise.
yeah, yeah. Same here though. It was still yeah, because they announced it like literally within months, like you said, for it to come out instead of like a year later. It comes out in a couple months. But yeah, I'm looking back now. The original Mass Effect came out in 2007, November 16th,
Okay.
2007, which makes sense because I think Part 2 came out in 2009.
Yeah. Yeah, I was definitely still in high school.
Either
Yeah.
the end of 2008 or 2009. But I think, yeah, Part 2 was definitely a huge launch too. Anyways, speaking of Part 2, I didn't go and look at the other ones for. I didn't. I seen videos of it, but videos obviously not gonna show you exactly how it's gonna look in person. And I'm not trying to go to the 2 and 3 to see how the graphics upgraded, you know, because I want to stick with the way how 1 looks right now in my head in person. I don't want to see something better because I understand there's still better looking games 2 and 3. So I don't want to do that to myself just yet till I actually beat 1. So I'm just trying to treat it like it's all a new trilogy to me again. I'm not gonna skip ahead just to look at graphics, even though I really want to. But yeah, man. I mean, yeah, we both have big Mass Effect. Well, I'm not gonna call ourselves Mass Effect historians, but I feel like I should be next to the damn games in the museum whenever they
I
come
put
out
in
with it, right?
my time, and
Yeah.
you know, I have while playing through first game now in my 5 hours, I have encountered a few, I would say, audio bugs. You know, like I'd open up a door on the Normandy, and it'd be like muted. You can kind of hear it, but it's not like, you know, how it should sound. That was kind of happening. I actually did when I was on the plan to save Liara. There was a ramp. When you go to try and open up the gate, you come back out. I actually got, like, there was some invisible wall that blocked me on that ramp. I couldn't walk down it. I was like, what's going on? You know, went back, came to do it again, and then, like, I was able to get off. So I was like, all right, you know, that's good. But, you know, so there are some things, you know, I wouldn't, maybe like immersion breaking, things like that. Sort of like, well, you know, we'll see. Like, I need more time to play the game and see how that's gonna go. You know, because I've been hearing kind of things about bugs, but then I
same
also
here.
hear people say like, "Oh, I haven't encountered anything yet." So
Yeah,
you know,
I can't see it being too many bugs in part 1 because part 1, you know, all these games were finished before. It's just part 1 just got the most work done to it, so there's room for like newer bugs, of course. But yeah, I can't picture it being that many bugs. I haven't really heard too many people complain about bugs like that either, so hopefully not. So far in that Liara planet, all I had was a music clip out when I was fighting against the bigger Geth machine. That I died probably like 6 times too because my stupid AI they didn't want to improve them, so they just kept dying unless I really told them where to take cover. I had Garrus obviously and Ashley with me. Even I should have took Rex with me, but I don't know.
Yeah, I would take Rex.
Liara all day. That's the romance I'm going with for this trilogy for my first playthrough again.
Oh, dude. I had to be listening on that because, like, I mean, it affects me now, right? Because my original playthroughs, like, I went with Liara, and then like once I had the whole like trilogy in my hands back in the day, I was like, all right, well, maybe I should romance Ashley in the first game because she pops up in the third game.
Yeah.
You know, and that's kind of cool. So it's like now, like I'm left stuck. I'm like, oh, you know, I mean, I've done all the variations essentially.
Yeah, same here.
I was like, I don't know, like what I want to do the most. Like, I mean, because I can, you know, I'm almost thinking I want to do Ashley because then at least Miranda open for Mass Effect 2.
Yeah.
That's a bit hard to resist.
Oh, it should be less harder to resist because they cut out all the butt shots mostly, and the camera cut. You know,
They should have tried keeping a. It's funny, you know. I talk about Eden Prime scene, and now I'm complaining that they should have kept more to the original work on that. But I mean, hey, it's eye candy, man.
Yeah,
You know?
it is, guys. If you're just coming in and listening to us talk about girls, we're not talking about real girls, of course. Like you would think the way we're talking right now, but that's how much Mass Effect has affected, no pun intended, our lives in a way where we do feel for these characters we're going through. And for anybody playing this for the first time, I am very, very jealous, and I'm happy for you because at the end of the day, this is the best version you're gonna play right now, and hands down, if you haven't played it, I feel like it's gonna be one of your favorite franchises of all time as well, till this day. After all the good games that developed after came out already, God of War, the Uncharted series, even Witcher 3. Witcher 3 is still my favorite game of all time, but this does that. As far as franchise go, Mass Effect is literally neck to neck, if not probably a little under Metal Gear Solid to me, probably, but they're very close. And yeah, I'm jealous, man. I'm jealous. You guys, hopefully you guys get it if you haven't, and it's something I don't care what games you're not into. Have fun, try it out. It's worth the $60 admission price for all the DLC you're getting with 2 and 3, which is a lot. And even before this game came out, all these years, you know, periodically from time to time, before I bought the DLCs, when I replayed the trilogy on my PC with mods last year, the DLCs were still expensive. Like, EA did not want to drop the DLC prices for 3. You know, I was missing like Leviathan, the Citadel DLC. You know, I was missing a couple, and they were still full price. So you're still getting a bang for your buck with the $60 price tag, including with the extra graphics and stuff. And I forgot to mention, I'm actually playing it on PS5. It's up to 60 frame rates. It seems stable most of the time. From what I played so far in the original Mass Effect, at least, and it's up to 4K. It looks very sharp, HDR. So it's well, so far I'm loving it on the PS5, and I'm gonna platinum it, all 3. It's 3 separate platinums for 3 different games. So you're getting a $60. You're paying $60 for 3 potential platinums out of one purchase. And forget about the platinum. You're just gonna have a great ride with it. You probably can call this our early impressions of Mass Effect Legendary review, but we're mainly talking about the first one so far, since none of us beat the first one, the remastered version. But
yeah, I would like to say too that anyone new coming in to play this game, Mass Effect the 1 does show its age, and I know
it's still, yeah, I agree.
It's kind of hard, you know, if there's no nostalgic tie to it, you know, to play something so aged sometimes. But you won't regret it if you can get through the first game.
Yeah, but you know, before it was hard to pitch that for people that never played Mass Effect. Before it was hard to say, oh, play 1 first, even though 1 was not even available on the PS3. It was hard to tell people to play 1 first because even if they had an Xbox, it still would show its age a lot. Like, it was really, the original 1 was kind of a lot more outdated than the way it is now. They kind of made enough adjustments where we can actually say, no, play 1 first. Trust me, you're gonna love it. Like, it's not. Yeah, you're gonna play like a game that feels like it's you know, it's aged quite a bit, but not as much as the original, and it's up to snuff where you can actually blend in a little better with 2 and 3, even though 2 and 3 was the massive change and stuff. But it's still up there where you won't feel like you're playing something too old like the original Mass Effect. But it's a lot of Mass Effect talk, man. We went over 26 minutes for Mass Effect so far. Anyways, play it, man. You won't regret it. Next up, we're going to talk about Resident Evil Village. Now, I played Resident Evil Village on the PS5 and PC. PC first and the PS5 after. Now, when I say played, I didn't mean like as in I beat both. Again, like in the beginning, I said I was up to Lady Demetress Castle, and that's on both versions. The game is scary, but not as scary as 7 in my perspective. Like, I'm not a horror fanatic when it comes to games. I love the lore though, like Parasite Eve. Like, I love the lore to the Resident Evils and Capcom games. Not in the way where like, oh, it all makes sense, obviously, because Resident Evil most of the time don't make sense. Most of the time. But I do love the lore, and I watched the rest of 7 when it came out, since I know I couldn't play it. I was too scared to. And it's just more the stalker thing, though. Like, the whole stalker thing, following you, the AI, it was like Alien Isolation. Like, I tried to play that, and I scared the shit out of myself too many times. I don't like the whole stalker thing, the Mr. X thing. Like, I don't like that stuff following you around, especially in first person. Third person I can kind of do it, like Resident Evil 2, but no first person. I'm sorry. But being that said, Resident Evil Village is a lot more actiony. I've seen a lot of it for me to get comfortable with playing it. The game looks freaking great, graphic wise, on the PS5, PC, and I'm assuming Xbox Series X as well. And on the PS4 as well. They did it. Capcom did a thing. with the red engine. Yeah, red engine in this it's RE engine. Sorry, I said red. Red engine is Cyberpunk and Witcher. Um, yeah, the engine in this game across all platforms just makes the game looks great, and I'm enjoying myself in the beginning of the game so far. But who's to say I may chicken out on certain parts? But that's why I was watching stuff ahead of time, so I won't chicken out so quick, like I did with 7. Mentally preparing myself. But other than that, I'm enjoying it so far. Steven, what do you think about the Do you think you're ever gonna? This would be like your. You told me off air that you're not a huge Resident Evil person when it comes to the games and all that stuff. But do you think this would be one of the games that you would probably play, or you think this not? This is probably not it for you.
Well, I'm not really like a horror fan, so I mean,
Oh, okay.
that's like a demerit for me. Uh, I don't know if this new Resident Evil is more akin to like the older ones, where it's more like a jump scare arcade shooter type deal, or if it is more of like what you were saying about, you know, things following you and like and all that stalker aspect.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, like maybe I'd have to look more into it. Quite
I
honestly.
can tell you this. It's a bit from what I gathered, and I've seen the whole game already. Most of it at least, especially the ending. But without getting into spoilers from people that haven't played it yet, since it's still fairly new, it's definitely a mix of everything from what I've seen and from what I played. It's definitely more actiony for the most part, but they do keep that creepy, subtle. It's all about audio in this game, and even in the last game, it's all about audio, and that's audio is one of the main things that would make my tension rise as I play, and I have a low tolerance for obviously my anxiety would peak at a certain tension span when that audio kicks in, when there's nothing but creaks and random sounds to make you look back all the time. And this game does a very good job with that. Whether I enjoy that or not, I don't know yet. But to each his own. People, I know people out there that really does like that shit because they like to be scared. Me, I like to be kind of scared, not completely horrified to the point where I don't want to play no more. I like to be scared, but not to the point where I'm scared to move on. I like when a game take a break to give me that. All right, I got a gun. I can protect myself. I can do a little more than just run away from enemies. Like 7 was just nothing. There was no break in that from what I've seen and from what I played. Like I was just tense most of the time, which I couldn't even get far in it. This one, it has some tense moments, but it gives you a break. Then it gets back to being a little tense, and it gives you another break. So it's not. That seemed like they did make it less scary, as the creator did say. I forgot his name already. Than 7, because people were complaining about 7 being too scary. So this game has a mix of 4, a lot of 4, Resident Evil 4 in it, with the action stuff and the briefcase inventory stuff, and a little bit of 7 in it. And I say a little bit, I mean like the really intense, creepy stuff, because I've seen certain parts of the game where it gets really like horrifying, but it doesn't last that long for your anxiety to peak at any moment, from what I can see, in my opinion. So it's an experience. I can't recommend it to you if you're not much of a horror fan, and I don't think you need to be a horror fan to play this. I think it's just, behind what I've seen, I think it has a good story. Worthy enough to play, and it's just worth the experience in general. Even if you're not a Resident Evil fan. But I can't dictate how you're good. Like, I can't tell you off the back, oh, you shouldn't play it if you like this. I think everybody should at least give it a try to see exactly where that tolerance may peak for them when it comes to the anxiety and having them jump off the game. So that's the best I can say to you. It's a mix of everything, but mainly action. Is not that scary as 7 so far, and from what I've seen. But from what I've seen, I haven't experienced yet. It's 2 different things.
Think it would be maybe comparable to the Dead Space trilogy? I was able to make.
That's a good comparison in a way where Dead Space 1 is scariest,
Mhm.
and I still finished that. So I guess for me to answer that is probably bad. Somebody else could probably do a better answer for you when it comes to that. Because Dead Space, all the Dead Spaces I played, and I had enough tolerance because first of all, it's third person. It's third person camera, which makes it less scarier to me. And you have tons of equipment in Dead Space, which makes it less scary. So if you're able to go through the trilogy in Dead Space, you may be able to go through the 4, but I haven't completed the game. I said 4, Village, but I haven't completed the game to say that yet. So I don't know, but it's definitely scarier than Dead Space trilogy to me because it's already first person. The game looks a lot better. Like, it looks real, and the lighting and the tone and the quietness. It's like you don't know what to expect in this one compared to Dead Space. Dead Space, you kind of know what to expect.
Okay.
After a while, when it comes to the enemies, you know the necromorphs. You gotta chop off the limbs. You know it's gonna be some form of necromorph. This one has a variety of enemies that you may not be used to off the bat. After a while, after you play it for a little bit, so I don't know. But this game makes you feel powerful when you upgrade. That's one of the hugest changes they did so far in the latest Resident Evil. You get to upgrade a lot in this game, from what I played and from what I've seen. So you do get to feel powerful to plow through the game on normal easily. That's what's motivating me to continue to play. Because you actually hunt in the game animals and stuff and use their materials to bring it to the merchant, which I like so far a lot, Duke, to upgrade your quote unquote health and weapons. So that may bring some like fear factors down, which is maybe good for us. Cause I'm in the same ballpark with you when it comes to me not being too much of a horror game player, but one thing with me is I do love the lore a lot because I do watch them a lot. So I want to be able to play through certain ones like I did with 2 and 3. Resident Evil 3 wasn't scary at all, actually, the remake, but I still enjoyed it. But that's the best I can tell you when it comes to the Village, at least, as much as I can pitch to you as a player that hasn't beaten it yet.
Okay.
But I think you should at least give it a try if you catch it on sale. Because if I wouldn't say spend $60 and you may not play it the whole way through.
Yeah, I'd probably wait for sale on that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's gonna be on sale, if not free. Actually, no. No, I'm thinking about Mass Effect. I actually forgot to mention Xbox did announce that Mass Effect Trilogy is gonna be free on Xbox Games Pass for Xbox and PC. So, yeah, I forgot to mention that when we bring up Mass Effect. But
I still have all the old games on 360 with all the DLC, and
same here.
I still have it all. So it's like.
But yeah, they're gonna bring it on Games Pass for free. As long as you got the Games Pass Ultimate, of course, or not Ultimate, just Games Pass. But yeah, that's RE8 for right now. It's just another early impression, I guess, even though we're kind of late to the party when it comes to that. 1 second, my thing just came off the alarm. Okay, that was quick. So, moving on, we're going to talk about something that you're more familiar with, that I'm not yet, but I am playing a game right now, a lot, recently, because I'm an on and off guy when it comes to the series. It's Destiny's 2 transmog system. Now, I haven't done a lot of research on that yet, but I'll have you explain to us exactly what that is in the best way you can, and what's the problem, what they're doing with that, and why is a lot of people online trying to put Bungie in the cancel culture. At least, not saying that's what they're doing, but that's what it seems like. It seems like a lot of people are getting on Bungie for this, because anytime they do something right, they follow up with something wrong so far, and that's the trend that I'm starting to recognize with Bungie, with their season passes, or season contents, and DLCs and stuff. So yeah, what is that transmog system exactly?
So, from what I understand, it's a feature that the whole community's been wanting for a long time, and it essentially gives you the ability to make your piece of armor look like any other piece of armor that you own.
Mm-hmm.
The way they implemented that, instead of just letting you do whatever you want, they incorporated like 3 forms of currency, and like you get these like synth strands from killing enemies, and then you have to build that up to a certain number. I think like 150, and then you
Okay.
go to someone else, I think Eva. You get like bounties, so that's the currency to buy the bounties. You do the bounties, and you get like synth cord or something, and then you have to build that up, and then you spend synth cord on synth weave,
Hmm.
and then weave is what gets you the armor ornaments to change the look of it. So that's a lot to go through already,
Yeah.
right?
I
Forms of currency.
that I heard much when it comes to the complaints. There's so much to do. There's so much to get and do just to get one thing out of this whole transmog thing when it comes to your item, with your armor. I meant. So
Yeah,
that I heard of. They make you do a lot just to do something. One thing.
and then they capped it. Like they capped like you can only do like 2 sets a season or something. I think they gave like a little bit of bonus or something for season of the Splicer just because this is the first season where transmog is implemented. But um, I was actually reading something about someone actually did the math because they were trying to determine how frequently they would get the synth weaves off of enemies,
Yeah.
and they determined that it didn't actually matter how many people you killed at once. It was uh, always spaced at like 2 minute intervals,
Hmm.
and they did the math on that, and it turns out that this is continuous gameplay. Um, it would take like 7 days and some odd amount of hours
Okay.
just to get like a full like armor set, I think. And like
They're
imagine
really
like
trying to
seven
milk that.
7 full days of gameplay, continuous gameplay. You know, it's insanity. Like the grind. Um, I know not a lot of people have all the time in the world to enjoy their hobbies. You
Yeah.
know, so something like that. It feels like a like a free to play mobile game thing. Where like because in the store, of course, they allow you to buy what you need in order to unlock like transmog stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, what people are gonna look at that and they're gonna be like, this is taking me forever. I don't want to deal with all of this. I'll just go buy it. And I think that's a little bit crummy,
A
a little
little,
bit
huh?
shady, in their practices that, it's not like they're losing money on this game, you know.
Exactly. Yeah, but in a live service game, a live service, a studio that's running a live service game, yeah, it's definitely a lot of ins and ups and downs when it comes to the decision making skills. When it comes to the digital currency market and stuff, instead of digital currency, yeah, digital microtransactions. And that's pretty much what you're saying is too. You can actually buy this with your real money if you really wanted to. But what's the
Yeah,
yeah what's the name of the things that you gotta
silver,
raise? So yeah,
silver, yeah.
so
So,
that's definitely something that they're expediting, obviously, yet again. Because I remember
and
last time Bungie. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
oh, I was also gonna say, so there's that whole aspect of that, as well as, I mean, they're coming out with the Vault of Glass again, which, there's the original raid from the first Destiny.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean that's cool, but like, why are we replaying old content? Also, I mean, I enjoyed the Vault of Glass, but I mean it's old.
Mm-hmm.
It- and then on top of that, they made the most recent raid, the Deepstone Crypt. They they took off pinnacle drops. Um, Nothing's really relevant. This raid is kind of new. I don't even think this raid is a year old, and they've already like made it not important. They just, you know, I don't think that's right.
No, I don't think
You know,
anybody is right. Yeah, you and a lot of other angry people online. Um, the one thing that confused me is that when you told the first thing you said with the whole transmog system, the whole purpose is to make another armor look like the armor that you want, the way you want it to look. Didn't that wasn't that pretty much another way around that was infusing your armor to have this like a better the number of the stats better
well,
to
the thing
keep
with
that same armor that you like the look of. Which
yeah, but the thing is that maybe you liked this one piece of armor, but the stats weren't as good as this other piece of armor that you had.
but that's what the
So,
infusing is for, isn't it?
I mean, infusing is for leveling up. So if
Just
the
the
one
just the
that
light.
had,
I meant the armor, the big numbers, pretty much. Just that's all it
yeah, your
changes.
light level,
Okay,
yeah,
got it.
yeah,
Okay, and this other one is pretty much making all the stats, so whatever the remaining stats like that, but with the same armor that you like to keep.
yeah,
I guess I get that now.
yeah. It's going to allow you to mishmash gear, right? Because
Got it.
normally you kind of care about how your character looks, and you don't really, so you would maybe have to grind for I need this certain set piece so that I don't look like trash. So, what the transmog system allows you to do is, all right, well, if I get one helmet from this other set that has a high roll, and I have this other gauntlets or these boots from like another set that looks completely different, and together they look really weird together on my
Mm-hmm.
character. It's like, well, I have my universal ornaments now, and I could just make one. It doesn't matter what I have underneath. That was the whole appeal,
Yeah,
you know. But instead, they go ahead and make this all very difficult, you know.
as usual with a lot of companies like this.
Yeah.
It's nothing new either. That's the sad part. I don't know. I love Bungie because obviously, I know we had the same reason when I'm about to say at least. I know you can relate off of this one I'm about to say, but I love Bungie because of their lineage with their the Halo, obviously the Halo series. Bungie wasn't a thing, as big of a thing I should say, until they made Halo.
Mhm.
So seeing them do the live service thing and all the changes they went through by going from Microsoft to Activision and Activision to being independent, you know, it made me fall. It made me lose faith in that company because of the moves that happened after who they were under. But now that they're independent, right, and Shadowkeep after their first independent DLC that came out after they went independent, now there's nobody else to blame but them. Like people would like blaming the top executives at so and so Activision. Bungie should leave, and I was one of them. I was definitely proof of that. Pointing fingers, at the executives, like the people above them, not the developers themselves. I'm not saying it's developers to blame, but whoever's running that show at Bungie is what I'm saying. That like that's the ones to blame. There's nobody else to blame but them now. Like the people that make the
Mhm.
decisions at Bungie, and I don't know. I don't know why they're going. It's not like they're being tone deaf because they heard us and they fixed things in the past. But I don't know why they keep going back and forth. Like every off season, there's like a stupid decision that they made or a bad decision with the DLC that's coming out with what they have. Because they gain a lot of people are playing this. Nobody has fell off of Destiny like that. The player rate, the player count has always been high, and it's like true as you are, true Destiny players, seasonal players out there that actually play it, on almost like a daily basis out there or whatever. But that number hasn't dropped like that ever to the point where they had anybody needed to be worried about the game. So when you say something like, I don't know why they're doing this because they're being greedy and they don't really need it like that. I believe you because they're this game has nowhere near been an Anthem or Marvel Avengers out there when it comes to players not playing like that. Like it's always been a big live service game, and they just keep striving. Yet they do stuff like this, and it's like, do you not like your fan base as it is already? Like these guys have been with you through the other dumb mistakes you guys did with the whole store. And I don't even call it a mistake because it was on purpose, but these other things that you guys did in the past, and it's like, why are you, you know, I mean, I'm not there. I'm not the main manager or whatever. Whoever the lead person at Bungie is, I don't know his name, but I would, if I was in his shoes, whether or not, if everything is going by, you're in a good graces of your fans, I would not change too much when it comes to the store side. Like, you already changed the Eververse store and brung something down. I forgot what they took down that was causing a big uproar with the fans, but you already did that. Why would you mess with other things in the game that want to make you lead, make players lead to to go into the store to try to, expedite their decisions and buying more microtransactions just to get something that they want. Like, I understand that business is a business, but that doesn't make any sense if you're already going up. Unless they change leadership over time, which I don't think so. Why are you? What's this for? That's what the stocks. That's what the stocks do. That's not what companies that's on one game do. They don't do. They shouldn't be doing that. That's sad. Unfortunately, that's what they're doing. But they shouldn't be doing this. At least they're doing this though. Then Marvel Avengers doing this. Like I that's.
Yeah.
Not trying to compliment Bungie too much because that's still stupid. It's actually worse on their court because they're actually doing good than bad. But Marvel Avengers, you don't want a next Anthem, and that's like the bad stigma that everybody's using to like live service games now. Like, oh, it's gonna turn to an Anthem. It's gonna turn to an Anthem, guys. Don't trust this. Don't do it. And you are far from it. Why would you? I don't get it. Certain decisions that these companies make just makes me like, damn, it must be a different role up there. Because if all of us as gamers already know what's stupid and what's not, what's good to do, then we must not know anything about the business world in that field over there. Because they be doing things like, why would you do it to yourself? Like, EA is tone deaf to the freaking T when it comes to certain things like the stuff that they're being sued in court for, microtransactions. For FIFA and whatever, gambling pretty much. They're surprise mechanics they call. And with Battlefront 2 and stuff. Like, why would you want to... You see, there's enough wrongs out there in the gaming industry for you to look at other games and like, nah, man, I'm not doing that. Nope. Like, it's a lot of examples out there. Why would you do something when it comes to microtransactions again and try to be sneaky about it? There's no such thing as sneaky anymore. We can see it happening from a mile away now. Like, everybody that wasn't paying attention to the industry behind the games, the behind the scenes stuff, are paying attention to it now. So I don't know. That's my little rant overall with the game industry. But Bungie's definitely falls under that though. They really do, and it sucks because I actually like Bungie, and I'm still playing the hell out of Destiny now.
I think, at this point in time, I mean, specifically just with Destiny, it's really like the community's fault for their continued behavior. Instead of complaining and, writing on forums, like, oh, how about you just stop playing the game? Take a break for like a month.
Show those numbers, man. Show them drop.
Yeah, that's where you gotta hit them. It's like stop these borderline unethical practices, like that's the only way you're gonna get them to stop.
That's definitely
get
true.
Their money away.
And it's funny you say that because it's like the community they do speak up a lot. I guess just not enough people that's not playing for them to get the message. I guess because the community, the Bungie community, the Destiny community, they do speak up a lot. Anytime they do fuck up on the problem, but I guess it's not enough of them that stopped playing. I guess that's not complaining about it. There's always gonna have that majority of people out there, and I guess most of the majority is still on that bandwagon of playing no matter what. But I'm glad we can address that on here, but because I don't think enough people. Yeah, there's a good amount of people that address the whole pish posh schemes of companies out there that's expediting their microtransactions in games, but. Yeah, it's something to be said though, definitely right now, because anytime a company fucks up, it's up to us to put them in check when it comes to speaking out loud about it, because nobody else is gonna put them in check besides their wallets, I guess, and if we don't stop supporting them. But Yeah, it sucks though, but you know, it's good. It's funny because if Avengers, the Avengers seen their player drop, they seen they seen it drop, and they continue to not do. They continue to not do what they need to do. Well, at least speak up about it in public. They continue to be silent about a lot of things and announce and do things that literally nobody wanted. Like making the progression for your level progression a lot longer. Like you guys are already in a sinking ship. Do you want this ship to go all the way down in half like the Titanic? I don't know. What is it? You guys didn't hit the iceberg yet that literally screamed out, you guys are gonna be dead. That game is gonna be dead in a couple of months if you keep this up. Like, why are you doing stuff to continue to like not? I don't know what type of situation that Crystal Dynamics is in at Square Enix. I don't know, but I would hope that Square Enix is not squeezing them dry for this as far as the money situation goes, because it's going to be a bigger problem when that game dies completely. And then people are already saying the game already died, but they're still choosing to support it, like the people at Cyberpunk. Difference is Cyberpunk is not a live service game.
Yeah.
So you want to do this whole Destiny Avengers the live service the way, you know, right? Announce Black Panther to coming out the end of the year. Nobody believes you because it's not like you guys had a good track record of releasing your characters on time anyway. We were supposed to be like near Spider-Man. As fucked up as it is as far as it being as exclusive, because I don't know how that's going to roll out now whenever that comes out. But that was supposed to be like out by now or this summer, whatever. You guys just released Hawkeye the other day, you know, it was like the other month. Very, very late to the game. So at the end of the day, it's like people could stop playing the game, but some companies just, I don't know, man. Anthem. I don't know what to tell you. Some companies act like nobody said nothing and do something else that one person probably said that nobody else agreed with. You know, that one in the room. Like, hey, maybe we should make this a little longer. Don't you think, guys? Guys? I don't know, man, you know? But we are a little cracked. What is it? Damn. Okay. So, we've been almost an hour in already, and it's already 5. So, we're going to end it at that. Guys, thanks for joining. If you joined on Twitch, I'll be putting this up on YouTube right after this. And I appreciate you guys coming out for the ones that made it into Twitch. Now, I'm not going to do any promising as far as like when is the next episode going to be out and stuff, because I did that 5 months ago and look what happened. I'd hope to have a steady podcast host to host with, but everybody has different things going on in their lives, of course, especially around this time. But that's not always an excuse either, so I'm going to try my best. Oh, this is all I can say. I'm going to try my best to try to get another podcast episode out as soon as I can, and not have you wait a month or 2 or even weeks from now to get one. Hopefully. I'm going to try. That's what I'm saying. So if you like this podcast, comment below things you may want to see improve or not, whatever. Feedback is always good. So with enough feedback, it motivates us to move forward with things, not just me and whoever I'm working with. So I appreciate you guys coming out, and that'll be the end of the show. Peace out, guys.